The sky starts to darken, not all at once, just enough for the color to leave the grass. The wind shifts through the trees. The leaves turn and tremble. A few seconds ago, your yard was moving. A bird at the feeder. A robin stepping through the wet grass. A small shape slipping along the hedge. Then the first drops begin to fall, and almost instantly everything seems empty. The feeder goes still. The fence goes quiet. The branches that were alive a moment ago look suddenly abandoned. But the strange thing about rain is not that birds disappear. The strange thing is how close they still are. They are not gone. They have moved into the parts of your yard your eyes have learned to ignore. Under leaves, behind bark, inside hedges, against the quiet side of a tree, the yard is not empty. It has only changed layers. And if you stay until the most important part, you will understand why some birds may return to the same hidden places again and again, as if your yard holds a map they remember better than you do. So, before the rain ends, subscribe for more quiet nature mysteries like this. And in the comments, write 2 words, "Still here." Share this with someone who watches birds from the window, because the next time rain begins, they may never see an empty yard the same way again. To us, rain begins when water falls. To a bird, it begins before that. Long before we reach for an umbrella, long before the first drop touches the window, the yard has already started whispering. The air changes, the light softens. The wind shifts through the branches in a different way. Leaves turn their pale undersides toward the sky. Tiny insects begin to fly lower. The sounds in the yard grow thinner, as if every small creature is listening for what comes next. Birds do not need a weather app. They live inside the weather. A small bird may feel the pressure changing before we notice anything at all. It may sense the wind moving from a new direction. It may see the light fading across the grass. It may notice that insects are no longer moving the same way. And in that moment, the bird is already making a choice. Stay and feed. Move deeper into cover. Drop into the hedge. Slip under leaves. Find the side of the tree where the wind is weaker. What looks sudden to us may not be sudden to them. By the time you notice the rain, some birds have already read the warning. They are not panicking. They are preparing. And once they sense that change, your yard stops being just a yard. It becomes a map. A yard has more rooms than we think. To us, it may look simple. A tree, a fence, a hedge, a porch, a quiet corner near the back. But to a bird, every part of that yard means something different. The thick tree is not just a tree. It is a roof. The hedge is not just a hedge. It is a wall. The loose bark on an old trunk is not just bark. It is a doorway. The space beneath the porch is not just shadow. It is cover. The vines along the fence are not just vines. They are a curtain. And the messy corner near the leaves and fallen branches is not just something you forgot to clean. It may be shelter. Rain changes the way a yard is read. The open grass becomes risky. The exposed branch becomes costly. The thin fence rail offers almost no protection at all. But the inner part of a shrub, the quiet side of a tree, the small hollow under bark, the low space beneath thick leaves, those places begin to matter. A bird is not looking at your yard the way you are. It is not seeing decoration. It is seeing cover. Windbreaks, escape routes, hidden edges. Small spaces where rain falls slower and danger is harder to see. That is why a bird may vanish without really leaving. It may only move from the part of the yard you notice into the part of the yard that was built for survival. To us, it is a backyard. To them, it is a shelter map. And once you understand that, the quiet places begin to look different. The dark space under the hedge, the thick middle of the evergreen, the hollow near the base of an old tree, the narrow gap beneath the roofline. These are not empty spaces. They are rooms in a hidden house. But a shelter is not good just because it is dry. For a bird, the wrong dry place can still be dangerous. Most of us think a bird in the rain is simply looking for a dry place. But dry is only one part of the problem. A dry branch can still be exposed. A hidden corner can still be cold. A warm space can still become dangerous if there is no way out. For a bird, shelter is not about comfort. It is a calculation. Where is the rain weaker? Where is the wind slower? Where can the body hold heat? Where can the bird disappear from a hawk above or a cat below? And if danger comes, where is the exit? That is why the safest place is not always the cleanest place, or the highest place, or the driest place. A bird has to balance all of it at once: rain, wind, cold, predators, energy, escape. Every wrong choice costs something. Too exposed, and the bird can be seen. Too open, and the wind pulls heat from its body. Too low, and ground predators become a problem. Too tight, and escape becomes harder. Too far from cover, and even a short flight can waste energy it may need later. So when a bird slips into a shrub, or presses close to the quiet side of a tree, or disappears beneath thick leaves, it is not choosing the place that looks best to us. It is choosing the place that gives it the best chance. The best shelter breaks the rain before it reaches the body. It slows the wind before it steals warmth. It hides movement. It keeps danger at a distance. And it leaves just enough room to leave quickly if something changes. That is the part we often miss. A bird is not trying to stay perfectly dry. It is trying to stay alive, not comfort, survival. And that is why rain does not mean the same thing to every bird. For some, it is danger. For others, it is an opportunity. But rain is not bad news for every bird. The same storm that sends one bird into cover can bring another bird out to feed. For one bird, rain means hide. For another, it means wait. For another, it means food. A robin does not look at a wet lawn the way we do. To us, it is just grass after rain. To the robin, it may be a table being set. When the ground softens, hidden food begins to move. Worms come closer to the surface. Small insects slow down. The soil opens in ways it does not on a dry afternoon. So while one bird disappears into the hedge, another may step carefully into the open. Not because it is careless, because the rain has changed the food map. For insect-eating birds, a light rain can make prey easier to catch. For a hummingbird, a break in heavy rain may mean a quick chance to visit flowers or a feeder before the next shower arrives. For a robin, the wet lawn may be worth the risk. This is why a rainy yard is not inactive. It is reorganized. Some birds move deeper. Some birds wait under cover. Some birds watch for the moment when the storm gives them an advantage. The same rain that hides one bird may feed another. But sometimes a bird does not hide and it does not feed. It simply sits in the rain. And that stillness is not as helpless as it looks. If you have ever seen a bird sitting on a wire in the rain, you may have thought it had nowhere else to go. A small shape against a gray sky. Still, quiet, compressed. It may sit on a branch, or the edge of a fence, or the thin line of a power wire while rain moves all around it. At first, it can look helpless. But that stillness may be the smartest move it can make. A bird in cold rain cannot waste energy. Every movement costs heat. Every short flight uses fuel. Every open wing gives the rain another chance to reach the body. So the bird becomes smaller. It pulls itself in. It keeps its feathers tight. It turns with the weather instead of fighting it. Water slides over the outside instead of sinking deep inside. And the less it moves, the less warmth it loses. To us, it may look like the bird is simply enduring the storm. But the bird is doing more than enduring. It is choosing stillness. It is saving heat. It is waiting for the moment when moving becomes safer than staying. Because for a small bird, heat is not a small thing. Heat is time. Heat is strength. Heat is the difference between making one more flight and not making it at all. That stillness is not weakness. It is strategy. Survival does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks very still. And this is why the places around that bird matter so much, especially the places in your yard you may not think are beautiful. The most important shelter in your yard may not be the cleanest part. It may be the part you almost removed. The brush pile near the fence, the leaves gathered under the hedge, the vines climbing along the wall, the old branches stacked near the back, the low tangled place where rain falls slower and shadows stay longer. To us, these places can look unfinished, a little wild, a little messy, something to clean when the weather gets better. But to a small bird, that same corner may mean cover. It may mean a wall against the wind, a roof made of leaves, a place where movement disappears, a place where a wet bird can wait without being easily seen. Not every shelter is beautiful to human eyes. Some shelters look like broken twigs, dead leaves, thick vines, a dark space under a shrub. But the yard that looks perfectly clean to us may have fewer places for a small body to hide. And the corner we almost clear away may be the corner that keeps something alive through the storm. That does not mean every yard has to be wild. It simply means the small hidden places matter more than we think. What looks unfinished to us may look like safety to them. So the next time you see a quiet brush pile, or leaves tucked beneath a hedge, or vines holding rain along the fence, it may not be nothing. It may be a small shelter system, a place the birds already know. And if a place helps a bird survive once, it may become more than shelter. It may become part of the bird's memory. And this is where the yard becomes more personal. Because a bird that survives a storm does not forget what worked. The dry side of a trunk, the gap beneath a roofline, the hollow in an old tree, the hedge that blocks the wind, the low branch that stays steady when everything else moves. These are not random places anymore. They are remembered places. A bird may not know your yard the way you do. It does not know the name of the tree. It does not know where the fence begins or where the garden path ends. But it may know something more important: where the rain falls softer, where the wind breaks, where the shadows hide movement, where food appears after the ground turns wet, where it made it through last time. That is the kind of memory built by survival. Not a map on paper, not a map with lines and labels. A living map, built from weather, hunger, danger, warmth, escape, and return. So when the same small bird appears near the same hedge again, or slips into the same vine-covered corner, or lands on the same sheltered branch after the rain begins, it may not be a coincidence. It may be using a place it has trusted before. To you, it may be just the corner by the fence. To a bird, it may be the place that worked last time. And once you understand that, the yard begins to feel different. Less like empty space, more like a quiet memory shared by the creatures that live around you. You see a backyard. It sees a living map. So the next time rain quiets your yard, the question is not only where the birds went, it is whether you have learned how to look. So the next time rain begins, do not look only at the open space. Look at the edges, the hedge, the evergreen, the porch beam, the quiet side of the fence, the dark place under the leaves. The birds may still be there, closer than you think, a small shape tucked where the rain falls softer, a quiet body pressed into cover, a robin waiting for the grass to come alive again, a bird returning to the place that worked last time. You may not see them at first, but that does not mean the yard is empty. It only means the life inside it has moved into quieter rooms. Rain does not empty the yard. It reveals another version of it. One hidden in the edges. One held under leaves. One remembered by the birds long before we notice it. So next time it rains, look slowly. Look at the places you usually ignore. And if you have ever found a bird sheltering somewhere strange during a storm, tell us where it was. Under a porch. Inside a hedge. Near a flower pot. Behind a fence. Sometimes the smallest hiding places show us how alive our own yards really are. And if this changed the way you see a rainy backyard, share it with someone who loves watching birds from the window. Because after this, the rain may never make the yard look empty again.